Hello and welcome to Sports Tower Talk. I'm your host, Elijah Yola. Today we move on to the next team who finished third in the NFC South, which are the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, coming into last season, were a top contender in their division and were a consensus favorite to win it. However, there have been some injuries and derailing moments that Atlanta had throughout their year that led them to a failing 8-9 season, which almost ironically gave them a chance to win the division, instead leading a three-way tie with the Panthers and the Bucks, but overall giving the tiebreaker advantage to the Panthers in winning the division. Coming to Atlanta, there have been a lot of questions now going forward through with this team, especially at the quarterback position. There is the whole other side issue with James Pierce Jr. and what happened with him. But aside from that, the quarterback is now the biggest issue if the Falcons will continue to rely on Michael Penix Jr. being the starting one option. They did also address bringing in some competition for Penix before going on for the season. But anyways, let's take a look at what the Falcons did in the free agency market in order to improve their team as well. Looking back at the free agent market for Atlanta, they were heavily focused on the offensive side of the ball. Starting with the quarterbacks, they were able to sign Tua Tagovailoa to bring in some QB competition with Michael Penix. Penix is also recovering from an ACL injury he suffered last year, so Tua might be getting the starting nod if Penix does not recover fast enough. They also brought in running back Brian Robinson Jr., wide receivers Jahan Dotson and Alonde Zaccheaus, and also brought back tight end Austin Hooper on a one-year deal and franchise tagging Kyle Pitts. This gives our Falcons offense a lot of new weapons for them to use in their offense, and there was a sudden retirement of one of their tackles who's been with the team since 2019. So the Falcons immediately pounced on Chiefs former tackle Jawan Taylor to a one-year contract. As for their defense, they only brought in two players so far, in edge Azeez Ojulari and safety Sidney Brown in a trade with the Eagles, as well as a swap of multiple late round picks. In the eventuality of the moment for the quarterbacks, the Falcons did put out for everyone to know that Kirk Cousins was going to be released and he became a free agent. He eventually signed with the Las Vegas Raiders to become the backup QB or the eventual starter for the Raiders. Not only that, the Falcons have pretty good star players among both sides of the ball, but the thing, it's like the Panthers situation. They have a wild tendency to be inconsistent when it matters most. During the Falcons' 8-9 season, they were able to win against teams like both the Rams and the Bills, but they lost to some of the lower eventual teams over in the season. So it raises a bunch of questions to know if Kevin Stefanski, who became the new head coach after Raheem Morris was let go, could turn things around for this team. But anyways, let's take a look at the mock draft that I have set up for the Atlanta Falcons for their upcoming season. In Atlanta's mock draft, they only have 5 picks, in which their first round pick for this season is now owned by the Los Angeles Rams. In any case, heading into the second round, they were able to draft D'Angelo Ponce to help improve their secondary and bring in another wide receiver in Brandon Thompson, who was the fastest receiver in this draft class and had an explosive career in Mississippi State. They also brought in an offensive lineman to help improve the line, as well as tight end depth in Daquan Wright, and bringing in another edge rusher in George Gums Jr. should the situation with James Pierce Jr. ever complicate things more. The Falcons don't have a lot to work with, and trading back may not be an option, especially with the star power considering other things, and might want to save some of their future draft picks out for next year to look at the next upcoming draft prospects. Looking at the state of the Atlanta Falcons, a BPA draft might be in the running more since trading back may not be an option, considering that Atlanta might want to save some of their future draft capital and get the players they need to improve their defense. Their offense is fine. They can bring in more offensive depth for it, but the defense is certainly what they need to look at. They didn't do much in free agency, but they didn't do much either in the draft, but they already have the pieces with it. With Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts holding the offense, Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell hold down the defense, especially with the young rookies they did draft in last year, who made an instant impact last season. But in any case, let's take a look at some of the players Atlanta drafted, and let's start off with cornerback D'Angelo Pons out of Indiana. Pons, being 5'8", 182 pounds, is an undersized but an ultra-competitive cornerback with elite athleticism and ball skills that made him a productive player in college. D'Angelo has elite verified speed, explosiveness, and twitch to stay in competitive press coverage, and has disciplined technique with eager physicality. He also displays keen instincts for timing and eye discipline for the ball. He also does have exceptional recovery speed, great footwork, and can play bigger than his size. With the way the receivers work in the NFC South Division, Atlanta needs to find more defensive back playmakers. With already Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell on there, they won't stop to further improve their own secondary, and D'Angelo Pons is a great selection for the Atlanta Falcons to be looked at. I also like the selection of adding another wide receiver to their team in Brennan Thompson. Thompson, being 5'9", 164 pounds, is the fastest and most explosive receiver in the draft, epitomizing the field stretcher position. He has the best speed among all prospects with a 4.26 40 time, showing off his elite deep speed to threaten the defenses vertically. With his speed, he also can both sail vertically and open underneath on his routes. He's hard to touch at the line of scrimmage and can take the top of the defenses consistently. While Drake London is obviously the wide consensus WR1 on the offense, having a receiver like this would definitely help Tua, especially with the underneath passes. Tua likes to work in a fast offense, and having a receiver like Drake London and Brennan Thompson work out, with not to mention with tight end Kyle Pitts and running back Bijan Robinson, and Kevin Stefanski at the helm for the offense, this might give Tua a great set of players and system to work in a speedy offense like he did in Alabama. He had success when Mike McDaniels did it back in Miami, but now maybe Tua can finally work his way into something and maybe give himself a second chance at being a starting QB elsewhere, whether it be Atlanta or maybe somewhere else after his one-year contract. It's hard to say wherever the fact that the Falcons can get rid of their own inconsistency and play like contenders in the division. In a weak division like them, anything is possible. The Falcons could obviously win the division with any chance if the other teams fall, but they would have to hope for a lot, and they need to play up to the level like they did in some of their wins last season. But the expectation for the Falcons, especially with Tua and Penix fighting out for QB1 and for head coach Kevin Stefanski, it might be likely for the fact that the Falcons could repeat a same season last year, but with better development. So my expectation for them is to finish 8 or 9 wins on the season, and look forward to the fact if Tua is the answer or if Michael Penix can still be that guy for the Falcons. That's all the time for today. Thank you so much for watching Sports Tower Talk. Please leave a like and a comment on the video, and make sure to always follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and X. And as always, I will see you next time.